his story really inspired me. That I also find that may be helpful for all of you guys who are just getting started and take off in your coaching business. Yes, some of you has seen some results. Some of you haven't seen results, but that's okay. If you don't give up, you haven't failed. Okay, so ChingWei is an architect. Okay, he's got masters in architecture, but he decided to let that go and pursue coaching. Okay, so he was based in the UK when he contacted me. He was in UK, and he was already into athletic coaching. He was already working with athletes, pro level athletes from tennis, squash, racket sports, uh, ball players, football, basketball. So I believe he knows his stuff. And what is really impressive about Chingwei is that he went from 0 followers to over 70,000, 71,000, 72,000 followers, purely on athletic fitness content. So he's got more followers than me. I believe he knows something that I don't know. And sometimes I pick his brain a bit on content, and he's really kind to help me. One of the most humble guy I've met, always learning. And Chingwei just invested in the new coach. I'm not gonna mention the name, but now he's into processes. He I'm gonna get you to share your own numbers, but like this is just like intro, right? It's like what I find really impressive about Chingwei. We engage on the videographer to test out on the video editing, and he was running through with me his processes of how he get his videographer to edit his video. And man, I tell you, I'm so blown away by his process. He's got a full-blown like dashboard, like a Trello. Was it Trello? No, was it
Notion.
Notion that he used? And then he's got a script. He's got a library of B-roll videos. It's it's crazy. Everything was ready, and then the script he tells the editor at which line of the script, what video do you put in. He linked the video to the script. Everything was like, bro, that's like a full-time job, man. And that's his process for video. I mean, why am I like surprised? Because he's an architect. I believe if he's like designing buildings, it's gonna be like 10 times more complex than this. Eye to the detail is very important, processes and systems. But today not gonna get into a system and all that. I just want to let you know the level he's at. Okay. Um, the last time he shared with me about his price point, he was already doing like what 10,000 ringgit for I don't know 12 or 16 weeks. International clients from Hong Kong, from Europe, mainly from Europe clients. So, but tonight the highlight will be on his journey, how he start, what were some of his mindsets, uh, roadblocks that he had to overcome, and how did one Malaysian Asian guy, you know, uh, venture into the online space and pull like 70K followers and had all these European athletes pay him as a performance coach. So I'm gonna like invite you in, Ching, and you can take over now.
All right, Chun, thanks for the long introduction. Yeah, but good to meet all of you. And actually, Chun told me about this 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, and I only had like 2 days to prepare. But the reason, one of the main reason I said yes is because before I started, even posting content, I told myself one of the main reason I want to do this is also to inspire others, through my journey. So, glad that I got this opportunity today. And thanks for tuning. So I thought, like, why not? You know. So yeah, let me jump right into it. Let me share my screen. I think Chun, you have to let me in. Okay, hold on. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Hold on. Mm, yeah, can you guys see my screen now? All right, awesome. Okay, let me present it. All right, so today I mainly want to talk about how I built a 20 to 50K per month online coaching business in 2 years. All right. So, like Chun said, I'm not going to get into a lot of strategies. It's more about the journey, the struggle, the mindset stuff, right? Because I think that is more important more than anything. Um, and also, I want to talk about how I gone from zero to 70,000 followers, all right, in 2 years, fully organic. Like Chun said, right, I did not pay for any ads. So the first post I ever made was actually in 5th of January 2024. Right. And today I have about 70,000 followers. But before I go any further, just a quick introduction of who I am. Right. So I'm actually 28 this year. I'm just a regular dude who grew up in Shah Alam. But today I'm a performance coach and I work with professional athletes from all over the world, like Spain, Switzerland, Saudi, France, India. And I actually spent 1.5 years living in the UK doing this full time. So I just moved back to Malaysia right now. And I actually walked away from 6 years of architecture education, right, as Shun mentioned. I'll get into all that in more detail, but this is just like a brief introduction, right? And I actually grew up very introverted and extremely shy growing up, right? And I've also invested hundreds and thousands of ringgit into mentorship and education in the past 2 years. Yeah, I'm gonna share like the lessons I've learned as well. So yeah, the main thing about today's presentation is to share with you guys not any business insight, but more so my journey and the limiting beliefs I had to overcome along the way. Especially, I think when we just starting out in our entrepreneurship journey, our online coaching business, I'm pretty sure team, you experience this as well. There's a lot of mental blocks that we have to overcome, right? And it's more important than the business strategy itself. All right. So there's 5 lessons that I mainly want to share today. So the first one is that your business can't outgrow you. Some of you maybe have heard of this before, right? And the reason why I want to start off with this is because, like I said, this presentation is a lot about mindset, about the journey, my perspective. And maybe some of you here might think like, I want to learn about the strategies. I don't want to, listen to another mindset talk. But it took me a long time to realize myself as well. After investing all this money into the mentorship program, after doing this for 2 years, I've realized that actually a lot of the time is out myself. I'm the one that's holding me back, not the strategy, not the coach, not the mentorship, not the courses, right? And a lot of times we might think that, it's a content strategy. This strategy that maybe Chun gave us is not working or the marketing. But again, there's a lot of times is my insecurities, the way that I've been brought up, my trauma. Those are things that is holding myself back from implementing those strategy properly. How many of you here can relate to that? All right. So let me share with you some of the biggest bottleneck I had. First one is, scared to post when I first started posting. No, the reason why is because I had this expectation from others that I was holding on to. I grew up an introvert, right? Very shy kid. Do you know how many of you are introvert here? I think maybe people think that coaches will be naturally extroverted, but I think a lot of coaches are actually introverted. A lot of business owner as well, right? A lot of successful business owner are all introverted people. So I had this expectation of others, like to live up to, I'm this introverted guy, I'm this shy guy. If I start to post content, what will people think? Right. So that's the first thing that was holding myself back. Now, the second thing is then, once I started to get client, the next step that was holding me back from, scaling, from earning more is actually scared to charge more. I think this is something that a lot of you can relate to. You feel like, you are giving people workouts, you are giving training, like how can I charge more than 5K, 6K, 7K? right? Why would someone pay me without having to meet them in person? So this comes back to my personal relationship with money. Especially growing up in an Asian household, a lot of us are brought up with a mindset like, don't simply spend money, or the fear of like investing a lot of money into mentorship, right? And sometimes when we have that scarcity mindset, it will bleed into, how we show up, how we appear in front of a prospect. When we ask for money, we'll be a bit like, jiggery, a bit nervous to ask for that amount because we don't see the value in our own program. All right. So that is what I had to overcome myself, right? And part of what helped me is, investing into my own learning, right? When I know I had a problem to solve. So then when I jump on a call, when a prospect give me that objection, when I know they need that help, I can look them in the eyes and speak with conviction and help them overcome that, right? Because I've overcome that myself. And the third one is, this is the biggest one for me. So after I grew a huge following, right? If you look back at my old content, I did a lot of B-roll, right? Which shot a lot of like viral style content. But I struggled to build connection with my clients, right? And I struggled to build trust. And part of it is because I had this fear of speaking in front of a camera. And I never actually told Chunyan this before. One of the reasons why I actually invested in him because I know his style of content is he speak a lot in front of camera. And I know he's gonna force me to do that. All right. So that's why I decided to invest in him because I want to overcome this fear. So I remember this one time, Chun asked me to, film this video, talk to the camera, go outside, be in public and speak in front of the camera and post it. In my mind, it's like, shit, I have to do this now. So I remember that night, one I think it's the next night. I actually went to this park beside. It was dark. I hold my camera like bottom. I'm gonna show you guys the clip later. I hold it underneath my face. I was like walking around, turning in circles, and the car driving past was looking at me weird, like, what am I doing? All right. Yeah, I came a long way. Today you can see most of my content is speaking. Um, I have no problem speaking in front of a group of people as well. And I also have a YouTube channel. Sometimes I just started it. I have some vlog there, you guys can look through. But this is the video. I'm not sure if you can
So
see.
if you're an athlete struggling with hip pain that just won't go away, here's the real reason why, right? So I was speaking to a friend recently, and she told me that she was dealing with this nagging hip pain for a while now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play the whole video, but yeah, I was like hiding the camera underneath. I was talking at night, right? So that was one of the biggest fear that I have to overcome myself before I can implement all that, content strategy that people talk about. Is I have to overcome this fear first myself, right? So this is a question for all of you to reflect upon, right? What is your real bottleneck beyond the strategy? Because the strategy all works. Like, I get results, team get results. A lot of people that you see online, they get good results. But why hasn't it worked for, maybe you guys? For me, in order for me to reach to the next level, there are still bottleneck that I have to overcome. So it's not just, at your level you have bottleneck. I have my bottleneck right now. Chun has his, right? It's just different level. And at every level, it's something that you have to ask yourself, like, what is the real bottleneck beyond the strategy? All right. So yeah, I like this quote, right? Work on yourself just as much as the business. So that's the first lesson, which leads to the second lesson, how do you overcome all this fear? So my second lesson is you need a bigger reason. So let me share with you, my reason, right? So I'll bring you back to before I started coaching. I did 4 years in architecture degree, right? Then after I worked 2 years during COVID time. After I decided to go and pursue my master's for another 2 years. So in total, it was 8 years, right? So I was living this, Asian parents' dream. I had a bright future, stable job, architecture sounds good on the outside. But deep down, I wasn't fulfilled with what I was doing. And I think this is maybe one of the reasons why a lot of you are here as well. you are not maybe fully fulfilled, or you feel like you deserve more for the job that you're currently doing. So there was this turning point. I remember I was working, right? This was during my 2 years working. We were rushing for this project. In architecture, we always stay back late at night. So we had a meeting the next day. So I remember that night, it was around 3 o'clock. I was alone, or I was with another colleague in the office, was finishing this, some toilet drawings. It was 3 o'clock. And I was just looking at the clock like, damn, it's 3 o'clock. And why am I, investing so much of my time into something that I don't find enjoyment in? I don't find fulfillment in. So that night, I promised myself, to figure out a way to get out of this, to do something that means something to me, that I find enjoyment as well as I can make a living out of, right? I didn't know what it was, but I made a promise to myself, that night. And I was just asking myself, imagine myself doing this for another 10 to 20 years. So I know you guys are not in the same industry, but I know as personal trainer in the background, you spend a lot of hours in the gym, sometimes 10, 12 hours, talking to people, standing your whole day. You are drained at the end of the day, right? And it comes to a point maybe you don't feel fulfilled. Again, maybe that's the reason why you are here. So that became like my escape project, right? Starting to post content, starting online coaching business. It's not just there to make money. I'm not just here to become an influencer, or to make some quick buck, hit this 10K per month goal. But this is my escape project, right? And also some people ask me like, what would your parents say? Giving up architecture to pursue this full time. So another reason why I want to do this, because I know that with architecture, there's only so much growth that you can make. To make really good money, you need a long time to get there. And I can be very transparent. That time I was earning like, I don't know, 3,000 ringgit, as an architect. So imagine you're earning that amount. If you want to give back to your parents, you won't even think about giving back to your parents. You only think about, how can I survive? How can I save more? So that become one of the um, main reason. And I know that even though my parents wouldn't agree with me, I know that if I choose this different route, if I do make it, I'm gonna give them back tenfold. So that became my driving force. So I think one of the, thing that you have to ask yourself is, what is your why? And I think we always want to have two why, one to pull you and one to push you. For me, one is, to be able to provide for my parents, and one is to be able to escape this rut that I'm in, that I don't enjoy. And I think when you have a strong enough why, you can overcome, almost anyhow, right? Which I really like this quote. When you know your why, you will stop procrastinating with the content. You stop, procrastinating with what you know you have to do. All right. So the third thing that I want to share is the mindset behind growing from 0 to 70K followers. So this is something interesting that I want to share, because I think a lot of times people ask me, they think it's my strategy, they think that it's my viral format. But I think something that I've never really shared much is the mindset behind how I started and how I got here. So I think a lot of you have heard of this statement, your personal brand is your biggest asset, right? Think about like all the big brands that you follow, the things that they achieve by building a personal brand, right? And this is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, right? But just a quick backstory of how I got into this niche is, I play futsal. Growing up, I play a lot of football. So as I grew older, I struggled, to keep up. I was getting a lot of joint pains, knee pain, all that. And then I realized like it's the way that I train. It was strong. I was training like a bodybuilder, like a powerlifter. So I did a lot of research, I bought like program, I worked with some coaches as well. So through that, I transformed my body, transformed my performance. And that's why I decided, what can I share? This is the best thing I can share. So I decided to just put out content on what I know, you know. And that time I really didn't know where it was going, but I know I wanted to start my personal brand. So I started posting in January 2024. So this was like 1.5 years ago. Sorry, 2.5 years ago. All right. And this is what I told myself when I first started. All right. I told myself I will post consistently for 1 year, regardless of the results. And I'll improve bit by bit as I go, and also focus on giving as much value as I can and ignore the negativity, more so negativity from the people around me, the friends, the judgment. And you can see on the left hand side here, this is actually a note that I wrote for myself on my iPhone note app. Right, this is a deal I made with myself. You can see at the bottom part, the purpose why is to be an inspiration and testament to my friends, cousins, family, inspire them to go for what they want and share my faith through this. People look up to me, don't let them down, even if it doesn't work out as you plan. Show them your courage, dedication, and character. So my whole focus was just on the input. I don't care about output. I was ready to do this for 12 months, even if it doesn't lead to anywhere. All right. And I think this is something that we always tell our clients also, right? Focus on the input. The output will eventually show. So the same comes to content, comes to business. So after 3 months of posting, for 4 times per week consistently, all right, I actually had about 200 to 300 followers. This number here is actually the moment when I started to grow the account. I didn't manage to screenshot before that, right? But it was around beginning of April, I had about 200 to 300 followers, you know. But I was consistent for 4 times a week. At that time, I invested into like a short mini course about content. So I kind of know a bit of what I was doing. But then I got one video that went viral. So that changes everything. So you can see here the date on the screenshot. 9th of April, I had 1,000 followers. After 2 weeks, I had 10,000 followers. So that was 10x in 2 weeks. But it wasn't from the 2 weeks, it was from the 3 months prior that I was consistent. So my question is for some of you who haven't seen results so far, like you guys can drop in the comments how many of you have posted 4 times per week for 3 months straight. Anyone has done that so far? They threw in surprise. Yeah, okay, well done, team. So you guys can see, all right, if you say it hasn't worked, but have you put enough effort into it? Yeah, so then it's maybe you need, another month, 2 months, 3 months, you know. But the key is that we have to stay consistent with it, right? And continuously improve. And I really like this image. If I give up within the first 3 months of not seeing results, I would be like this guy at the bottom. Right. So this is something that is not new, but I think it's about sometimes reminding us and just hearing it enough or hearing it from a different perspective to actually really drill that into our head. All right. So again, just a reminder that content creation is a skill and most people quit before they become good. So this is something that I want to remind you guys is like, as long as you guys keep going, right, and you continuously learn the skill, you will reach that point, right? It's not about whether it works for you. It's about how long you are willing to stay in the game. Yeah, and I genuinely wish to see all of you here succeed, right? And okay, the fourth one is to optimize your environment. So I'll share with you guys like my idea of optimizing my environment, right? So the first thing is that I moved to the UK maybe 4 years ago, right, to actually pursue my master's. That's what I told my parents at least. But deep down, actually, I didn't, the masters wasn't my priority. My priority is just to remove myself from the environment I'm in, to give myself space, some distance, some room for me to actually think about what I want to do and just focus on what I want to do. Now I know like I was in a privileged situation where I can do that. Um, but this is something that I just wanted to share, right? I go to that length to remove myself from my current environment. And after 2 years of studying masters, I actually came back home for 3 months. At that point, I just started my coaching business for like what, 7, 8 months? Not even business, like I started posting content for 7 to 8 months. I had some clients, I wasn't earning a lot. So I had a decision to make at that point, whether to go back to the UK or whether I should, stay in Malaysia, live in my parents, no stress. I got all the meals ready for me, don't have to pay for rent, and I can focus on this business. Or I move back to the UK, pay for 5 times the rent, pay for 5 times the living cost. But I know which one is going to grow me more, right? So I decided to move back to the UK. Now, something that I want to share as well is that a lot of times people think that, oh, you live in the UK, must be so nice, like London Bridge and stuff. But I'll show you this is the picture of what I was choosing. Left side is my bedroom now at home. This is my parents' house, right? I moved out now, but this is my parents' house. This is where I get to stay. And the right side is where where I was living in UK. Because rent was expensive. I didn't want to pay a lot. So this was where I built my business for the past, 1.5 year. All right, this was the condition of the room. But I know what I was choosing is not just a good environment, but an environment where I can actually remove myself from the bubble. Right? So this is what I mean by optimizing your environment. Sometimes it's not about, making the place nicer, choosing a nicer place, but removing things that doesn't serve you. Other things also, like I stopped hanging out as much with my childhood friends, the expectation that I have to live up to. I built my own friendship group who are on the same journey. So these are fitness coaches as well. So like a lot of you here, are on the same journey. And what I would recommend is, you guys to meet up, work together. I met up with team as well. I met up with some of the coaches in Chun's program because I like to, you know, um, how to say, hang out with people who are on the same journey because the conversation is different. And part of the reason why I invest so much into mentorship is to also just put myself in those community where, the 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 level they're at is just on a different level. Right. Currently I'm in a mentorship where all the coaches are making 5, 6 figure in USD per month. And that's the normal, right? That's the standard. But if you hang out with, people who are making 5, 6K and 10K is the standard, then that will be your standard. Right. Like I said, the conversations are different. And I remember it was last year when I was in the UK. I had like my record month, right? And like that was like, something that I'm super happy about. All of you would be super happy, right, when you hit your record month. And I wanted to share with someone, but I didn't have anyone to share with at that time, you know. But so I decided to just call my mom and I told her send her some money. Um, but after I end the call, I realized like, damn, this is lonely. I didn't have anyone to share with. So yeah, I encourage all of you to put yourself in rooms, build connection with each other, support each other, right? Because this is a lonely journey, right? And part of the reason why I want to join here, I want to share with you guys. So yeah, the biggest lesson I've learned optimizing my environment, getting into all this room, is that success becomes a norm. Right? Suddenly making like 20, 50K per month, it's actually just normal, right? It's not something crazy. So yeah, ask yourself like, what do you need to remove? Not just what do you need to add to your life, right? Who do you need to remove? So my last lesson is that I want to share with you guys the biggest lesson I've learned after investing over 100,000 ringgit into mentorship over the past 2 years. Right. So when I invest all this money, right, a lot of times I actually, I was looking for more information, more courses, more strategies, more knowledge. And I know a lot of you, I believe a lot of you think that as well, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, like strategies, information, all these are important in business, right? Um, but I think above that, like I want to share this story, right, from one of this guy that was in the same mentorship as me. He went from 7.5K USD to 100K USD per month in 1 month, right? He joined around the same time that I joined. He joined like one month ahead of me, but in one
Sorry,
month he
sorry.
jumped on this.
US dollars, yeah. US
Yeah,
dollars.
US dollars.
Okay.
Yes, US dollars in 1 month. That is like 10x, 12x the jump. Like a lot of people think that that kind of jump will take years. So he actually did a group call and he shared with us like what did he do, right? The information in the program is the same. The level of support he gets is the same. Why did he jump so quickly? He didn't have a new offer. He did not have a new system or a new skill set, right? What he said was this is one thing that helped him grow so fast, which is the speed of implementation. So I remember in a group call, like it was a content call, the coaches gave us like 5 to 6 different strategies to implement. The next call, um, I think the next two call, he was doing this presentation and then he asked all of us, how many of you has implemented all 6 strategies? None of the people there raised up their hand. Only he did. So what changes was actually he tried out all these different format. One of it actually went super viral, and he got a lot of leads through that, and he closed like 10 deals, I think, from that, and that helped him hit 10K, 100K, sorry, right? So it's all by just learning, quickly implement, and then see how it goes, and then refine from there. So this is a principle that I've carried myself, and I think contributed to a lot of my progress as well so far, right? Is how fast you can translate an idea or a new information that you receive into your first action. Right, I think yesterday I posted a reel about this where I talk about yesterday I had an idea of building out this new page to share my client testimony, to document my client testimony. And I was just thinking, instead of waiting for tomorrow, tonight, or whenever I'm free, why not just do it now? So I just paused everything that I did. I created the page, I collab with all the posts that I currently have, and then within 5 minutes, I have the entire page set up. From the moment I had the idea, the impulse idea, I decided to execute, you know, and this is something that this is a very important principle I think all of us should remind ourselves. Right? So implement first, refine later. Whatever Chun asks you to do, just do it first, see how it goes. Then you can refine later. Don't overthink. Right? So yeah, just a quick summary of the 5 lessons that I've taught today. Your business can't outgrow you. You need a bigger reason. Don't quit before you become good. Optimize your environment and speed of implementation. I hope you guys learn